These are my top 10 favourite gaming pickups from 2024. Alright everyone, hope you are doing well. I'm the man they call Pixel Paul. Thank you for pressing play once again. This time around, we're coming up to the end of 2024. I thought it would be a good chance to have a look back over pickups that I've made throughout this year, over the last 12 months. Do a bit of a top 10 video for it. Now, the games that I've picked out, they've all featured throughout the year in game hunt videos, game grab videos, gaming pickup videos, whatever you want to call them. I used to call them gaming grabs videos, but I think they're now sort of more game hunt videos, that sort of thing. These are games that I picked up throughout the year. They've all got sort of little stories to them. There's different reasons why I've put them in my top 10, which I will go into. So let's just have a look through them. They're not necessarily the best games in the world ever, but like I said, they're sort of, some of them have a bit of a story to them. Some of them are just good finds, you know, price wise. Some of them are just games that I've picked up by chance. So yeah, let's have a look through the top 10 in no particular order. No particular order. When I say that, what I've done is kind of done them in calendar order. So I've done them through the months that I picked them up, starting from the first one, which was in January. And it was actually in the first game hunt video that I did of this year. So this game is Lollipop Chainsaw on the Xbox 360. Now, yes, I'm not the world's biggest fan of this game. I think it's an okay game. I was quite happy to pick it up and give it a go because, you know, at the time it was one of those games where it was quite sort of high value for the Xbox 360, but it hadn't we hadn't hit that Xbox 360 spike, you know, where, you know, all these, well, obviously the online store was shutting down, and everybody then started to going out grabbing Xbox 360 games. It was partway through the year, sort of mid-year. A lot of YouTubers were talking about Xbox 360 games. Everybody rushed out to go and get them. Prices spiked, went through the roof. This is one of those games that was included. But that being said, so I picked this up in January, and I got this back in January for £22, which, you know, even at that time, I was sort of thinking, that's still quite expensive, but it's still affordable in a way. It was a bit of a weird one because it was out on the shelves. Normally, whenever I'd seen this out in CEX, it was usually in the glass cabinets of dreams in those stores. But this time it was just out there on the shelves. And I think because of that, and because I could pick it up and have a look over it, that's why I grabbed it. And I'm glad I did, because the price of this did go up. It was one of those games that did spike, and it is still currently selling now at £50. So I will put this in the bracket of being a bit of a shrewd buy. For £22, you know, I've saved a fair whack, and it isn't a bad game. I don't mind it. I have played it. It's okay. Obviously, the remaster's come out recently as well, but that doesn't seem to have affected the price of the original version. But yeah, I'm putting that one down as a favourite because it was just a shrewd pickup, I think, at the time. So that was from back in January. Next game, and this one was in February. It was a car boot sale pickup, and that game is Zombies on the Super Nintendo. So I remember when I saw this at the car boot sale, and let's be honest, you don't always see fully complete, fully boxed, nice condition Super Nintendo games at car boot sales. Some people do, some people are just very lucky, but I personally just don't come across them very often at car boot sales. And I picked this one up from some sellers who sell games at my local car boot sale. They'd obviously struck lucky and found some of these somewhere, all in nice condition. I think they were looking for £40 for this originally, but because I've bought from them before and they knew my face and they knew me a bit, they said I could have it for £35. Now I remember walking away from it initially and then going back for it, and I'm glad I did, because it's an absolute belter of a game. I loved this game. I used to have it in my original collection, so I was really happy to pick that one up. And again, a bit of a shrewd buy. So I got it for £35, and at the moment, boxed complete in this condition, CEX price is £65. So, you know, £30 under the going rate. I think that was a good pickup, that one. So that's why it's in my top 10, and because it's such a great game. So yeah, happy with that one. Next up, again, I think this one was in February. it was in February. I've got all the prices and all the dates written down here. Yeah, February. I picked this up from Lee's Games in Morecambe. I've been to Lee's Games a couple of times this year, possibly not as many times as I would have liked though. But I am hoping to maybe go and visit again soon, sometime soon. So this was a game that I knew about from back in the day, from back in sort of like the original sort of PS2 release days, and it's one that I remember being really sort of rated quite highly, but didn't sell any because it was a bit of a budget game at the time, really under the radar, and it was a game that I really wanted to pick up again and play again. But I knew a few years ago the value of this had gone up a little bit. But yeah, I've just not really seen it anywhere since. So the game is The Red Star on the PlayStation 2. It's a cracking little game, this one really is. It's kind of a on foot, top down shooter, but it's kind of a bullet hell shooter as well. Hard to explain. I think I did do a bit of a gameplay video of this as well. But yeah, saw it in Lee's Games, got it for £15. I wasn't really sure of the value at the time when I bought it, but I just picked it up because I rarely used to see it around. So yeah, I was really happy to pick that one up and play it properly again. I think I'd played a demo of it or something like that back then. But yeah, to be able to sort of get it and have it in the collection, yeah, I paid £15 for it. It is only £10 now. It's come down to £10. There's not a huge amount of copies of it around, but I'd say at £10 that is well worth a pick up. I love the box art for that as well. And it's a really decent game. There was a gameplay video, like I said, somewhere on my channel. So if you want to see what it's like, check it out. But yeah, that's another one from my top 10. So we're going into March now. And this again was a bit of a chance buy. And it's one of those where it's a CEX markup error. And I just love it when they do that. When they put like a special edition version of a game out at standard edition prices, I usually just grab them because they just stand out, and you just look at them and you think that price doesn't seem right, and they're always worth picking up. So this game, I got this from CEX. I think it might have been CEX in Warrington. It was either CEX Warrington or CEX Stockport. I can't 100% remember. But I paid £3.50 for this, and it is the infamous special edition version on PlayStation 3 with that awesome box art and inside cover sort of box art as well. Really nice version of this. Now, this copy isn't in the greatest condition. There is some sort of bending and creasage, is that a word, on the box, and a little bit sort of rough around the edges, but in general it's not a bad copy of it. And like I said, I picked up this for £3.50. Even now still it sells, or it should sell, for £15 this. I think the bog standard version is about £3.50, so they had marked it up at that sort of price. So yeah, for £3.50, really, I was really over the moon to pick that one up, because it's such a great game as well, Infamous. Please bring it back. It's such a great series. It really deserves another shot at mass, just current gen gaming. It would look amazing. So Infamous, that's in my top 10 as well. Right, moving then into April. So this was in April, and I think most people who go out game hunting know or understand that part of game hunting and finding those bargains, that bargain hunting element of game collecting, is all down a lot of the time to luck and chance. And I think this is probably one of those sort of luck chance kind of things. It was just good timing on my part. So I got this from Smith's. Like I said, this was back in April. Got this from Smith's, got it brand new, sealed, and I got this with a bunch of other PlayStation 5 games as well. Again, I did a video on this. And they had on one of the ends of my local Smith's toy stores, they had a whole raft of clearance games, and I was just lucky to get there. I don't know how long they've been out because there were still plenty of copies of each game left. I think the other games I picked up included things like Power Wash Simulator for like £3 or something like that. There was a WWE older game in there with Rey Mysterio on the front. What else was there? I'm trying to remember. There was a few other games, and they were all like £3 or £4. But they also had this copy of this game too, and that game is Final Fantasy 16. I've got the alternative cover on there. You'll probably all more recognise the original cover, which looks like that. I'm sure you all know anyway. So yeah, I got this for £10, brand new, in their clearance sale. And at that point, I thought that is an unbelievable buy, because I had been thinking about buying it. I think around that time, sort of just after Christmas, it had already had some like reductions onto it of about £29.99. I think it went down to £19.99 before Christmas last year. This is, but yeah, it had gone sort of back up to £29.99 at this point. So to pick it up for a tenner, I was really happy with at that point. Even now, I'm just going back to check, and even now, CEX is still selling this for £20 second hand. It is in the sales at the moment, and again, I think you are looking about £20 still for it. So even nearly a year on, I'm still sat there with my £10 copy, and could still trade this in. Now, I have played Final Fantasy 16 a little bit. I haven't personally got on with it. I just found it a little bit, I'm going to use a posh word, laborious. Just the cutscenes just seem to go on and on. I've not played Final Fantasy for a long time. It just didn't really feel like a Final Fantasy game from what I remember. But I have still got it. I've not traded it in yet. I do want to give it a fair crack of the whip, but it hasn't really convinced me yet. But I think the fact that I picked it up back then for just a tenner, brand new, is why I've put it into as one of my favourite pickups, just because it kind of reminds me a little bit as well of all those other games that I picked up. And I think I spent, I'm trying to remember, but I think I spent about, I want to say about £18 with this. No, it was a bit more than that. It must have been about £25 with this. And I think I've sold most of the other ones on, and I must have got about 50 quid back in trade from the other games that I picked up. And I've still got this one. So yeah, that was just one of those chance, lucky, good timing type moments in a game hunt for me. So that's why that is in my top 10. Next up. Cheers. So I mentioned before that I love it when I find games mispriced in CEX, and this is another game that fits into that category. This was in June. I picked this up in CEX in Chorley. I paid £12 for it, and it is the Sega Mega Drive version of Robocop versus Terminator. Now this was a game, again, and I say this an awful lot, this is a game that had been on my radar for a long time. I'd been wanting to pick this up just because I'd never played it back in the day. Yeah, I'd never played this game. Did I play the SNES game? The version on the SNES? No, I don't think I did play the SNES version, but I know the SNES version is not great. So yeah, I've been wanting to pick this up, but it has been quite pricey. But I spotted this in the glass cabinet of CEX Chorley. They had £12 on it. Couldn't tell if it had a manual or not, and it didn't. But as you may know, I'm not particularly fussed about whether games have got manuals in, because in general, if I buy a game, most of the time it's going to stay in my collection. I've got no intention of selling it on, so whether it's got a manual or not doesn't really matter to me as long as I can play it. So yeah, £12 on that. But at the time, this should probably have been selling for about £20. And at the moment, it's currently selling for, in this sort of condition, without the manual, for 22. So I got it for 12. So again, really happy with that one. And it's a great game. I love this game. There's the soundtrack, the sounds, it's just so loud and gory and violent. It's just a brilliant game. Loving this game. So yeah, really happy with that one as well. That was £12. Should be about 22 at this point as well. Not sure how much the version with the manual is at the moment. I would imagine probably, I'm going to say about 25, 28, something like that perhaps. So yeah, happy with that one. I was really pleased to find that one. I think I did a video on that one too. Like I say, all of these were in videos throughout the year. Next up, so this one, and this is going into we're looking at June now. So June of 2024 was not a particularly great time for me. There was a lot of stuff going on with me personally, and it was quite a tough sort of period for game hunting and that sort of thing. It was all of that sort of took a bit of a back seat. But it was around this time that, with everything going on, something just occurred, which was just completely out of the blue, randomly, just a bit of luck. And that's when I won my PlayStation VR headset from Lee's Games, who I mentioned before. So having never played any VR games whatsoever, PSVR, bing, is something that's really kind of, I don't want to say dominated the year for me in terms of gaming, but it certainly has been a big part of the year. I've really took to PlayStation VR gaming. I love it. I really do. Still love it even now. I did wonder if it would be a bit of a fad and whether I would tire of it eventually, but I haven't. I'm still playing VR games now, and I do genuinely really love it. That point of the year also coincided with Game selling off all of their pre-owned stock, which at the time, we all sort of knew it was going to happen. And suddenly they just reduced all of their pre-owned stock by 50% just to try and get rid of it. So I jumped on that and I bought loads of mainly PlayStation 4 games from Game, mainly the one in the Trafford Centre. And picked up quite a lot of games back then. Some I did trade in and get sort of a decent trading value on, but there's an awful lot of those which I've still got and kept, including this one, which kind of sums up my love of the PlayStation VR, and it is, of course, Astro Bot Rescue Mission, which I got for £2.50. So obviously that meant they had it marked up for a fiver, 50% off. I got it for £2.50. This game right now, possibly because of the sort of success and popularity of Astro Bot, the main game, is now up to £20 in CEX, which is astonishing, really. But it's not, because it's such a great game. Arguably the best game on PlayStation VR. It is a fantastic game. If you loved the new sort of Astro Bot game, if you loved Astro's Playroom, this is more of the same, but just in VR, completely immersed in Astro's little world. And yeah, like I said, it kind of sums up my love of PSVR and VR gaming, because it's just so good. And looking back now, paying £2.50 for that as well, for what is now a £20 game, great pickup, that one. Love that one. Right, next up, just the last three. This one, so we're moving into August. I think this was just before I went on holiday, actually, and we went to Liverpool. So we went to, I'd not been to Liverpool before. Went for a bit of a game hunt around that city. Because it's not too far from where we are here in Bolton. It didn't take too long to get to. They have 2 CEX stores in Liverpool as well. And from what I remember, there wasn't a huge amount in those CEXs, but I did pick up this game. Again, it was a game that I had been wanting to get and pick up and get at some point, but not massively available. And I remember seeing a lot of copies of this sort of online on Amazon and things like that. But I saw this in Liverpool CEX, bought it. How much did I pay for it? £15 I paid for this at that time, and absolutely loved it. Streets of Rage 4 on the PlayStation 4. Yeah, absolutely love this game. One of my favourite games that I've played this year, easily. So it had to be one of my favourite pickups from the year too. So I paid £15 for that. And at the moment, I mean, it's gone up in value slightly. It's £18. So again, quids in, nice little pickup, nicely timed. It could well come back down to £15. But yeah, for 15 quid, was a really decent buy. And I've really got my money's worth out of it because I've played it an awful lot. But yeah, love Streets of Rage 4. Great one, that one. And it kind of reminds me of a nice day out in Liverpool, because it was a good day. Right, so we're coming up to more sort of recent months. This one was from November. The last one's actually from November as well. Again, one that I'd been on the lookout for a while. It's a steelbook, because I love a steelbook. And it is Resident Evil 4 on the PlayStation 2. So again, yeah, I've been looking for the steelbook version of this for a while, in nice condition, or as nice condition as you can tell, because it's supposed to have that kind of rough and ready look to it, but it is in nice condition. I got this from Gremlins Games in Lee, who I bought many games over the last few years from. I paid £15 for this, which again I think was a pretty decent price. Well, I say that, CEX are currently selling this for £25, so for 15 quid, yeah, that's a really nice price for that. Really good condition as well. So yeah, that sort of sums up a good year's sort of game hunting from Gremlins Games this year. Still love that little shop in the Lee Marketplace. And I will be trying to go again soon, I'm hoping, anyway. But yeah, Resident Evil 4, great game, absolutely amazing game. Still love the GameCube version of this. I recently played the PlayStation 5 remake of it, which is alright, but part of me just still loves this version. But I haven't actually played the PS2 version of it yet, and I've still not played this one yet, so at some point, hopefully next year, I'm going to try and give it a go. So yeah, I had to include a steelbook in there, of course. So yeah, Resident Evil 4. And then probably the last one, well, it is the last one because it's number 10. The last one of the year, probably my favourite pickup from recent times. So I paid, where is it? There it is. So I got this from CEX in Bolton, paid £18 for it in November. It's still £18, the value hasn't changed, but it had come down. So again, this is an Xbox 360 game where the value of the game did go up. But as we've seen, Xbox 360 games are starting to slide a little bit more back down to where they were. Not all of them, but some of them. And this one is included. So this one was, probably the start of the year was about this price. It shot up to about, I think about £28-30. So I held off from picking it up. Not that I see it around that often, but it came back down to £18. I was lucky enough to see a copy of it in CEX in Bolton, which is my local CEX. So when it had come back down, I thought I'll pick it up. And that game is Death Smiles, Deluxe Edition. And I've played this. I only spoke about this game not that long ago, but I really have enjoyed playing this game. It's such a great little shoot 'em up. I think I described it as Castlevania meets Super Parodius, which isn't a bad explanation for it, but it's one of those games you have to play to sort of get and to see what it's like. And it's a really amazing game. I wish I'd picked this up a lot sooner, to be fair. But sometimes you just have to wait for that right price, don't you? So yeah, really happy with that one. And that completes my top 10 for 2024. So I would say that's top 10 game pickups for 2024. I think that kind of nicely sums up the year I've had in terms of game hunting. Some nice sort of bargain hunting from various places. So there's CEX in there, there's Game, there's indie stores, Gremlins Games, Lee's Games in Morecambe, car boot sales. So yeah, it's quite a nice little mix, and I think it does kind of sum up my year in game hunting. I wouldn't say I've picked up as many games this year as I have in previous years, partly because of budgets, partly because of the stuff I talked about happening sort of towards the start of the year and mid-year. But in general, yeah, I think I've added some great stuff to this collection, and I think that top 10 kind of nicely summarises the year. What I'm going to probably try and do is put together a playlist with all of my sort of gaming grabs videos, game hunt videos for 2024. I might try and go back and do the 2023 ones as well. But yeah, I'll probably put all the game hunt videos into some sort of playlist, just in case you ever want to revisit my travels buying games. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. Love to know what your favourite pickups of the year has been as well. What bargains have you picked up in 2024? And then we're going to look forward to 2025, and we'll do it all over again, because we just love it, don't we? We really do. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that video. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, if you can hit that subscription button, that would be amazing. Enjoy New Year. I hope 2024 has been good for you, but I hope 2025 is even better. Have a great time over New Year's, and I will see you in 2025.